Hi, welcome to the podcast. It's your favourite two people, plus a special guest. We'll get to that in 2 seconds. We're all extremely tired. I don't know about you, Sam, but we watched the Super Bowl last night and it was a good game. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did. And as much as I enjoyed it, I didn't know much about what was going on. So that's why we have brought on our very good friend and NFL expert, Thomas.
The big man.
Thank you. I've been an NFL fan for a long time. To be fair, I've always enjoyed it. I used to play it as well for a bit, so I think I have enough knowledge on it.
You played NFL?
I used to play for a bit, yeah. Shropshire Revolution, but I played against
big team, the Shropshire Revolution.
But I was about 12.
Get me into that.
Yeah, I was like 12, coming up against 18-year-olds, so
didn't work out, did it?
No, so not very long. But no, I think I have a bit of
knowledge.
knowledge.
Yeah, but you're bigger and stronger now.
Well, I should start going again, shouldn't I? But
you should. You definitely should. You're going to take me as well.
Yeah.
With that, we are down a man. Ewan cannot be here today, but Tom's going to be his replacement for the time being. Tell us about the NFL though, because I mean, we realised it was a really short season. Probably after the Super Bowl was ended, you're like, okay, I want to watch more of this.
Yeah.
And now we have to wait like 9 months.
Because unlike the other sports in America, because I know baseball, I think they have 164 games. Basketball, 82 games. In American football, there's actually 18 weeks and you only play 17 of them because you have a bye week. It's because obviously there's a lot more physical stuff in it. So obviously to play 164 games in American football, it's really hard. But it does feel like a bit of a letdown because when it starts to come around, like September time, I get a bit like hyped up for it, and it's ended by February.
Yeah,
and
so short.
I'm a Buccaneers fan. I've been a Buccaneers fan for like my whole life because I went to Florida. No. My whole life because I went to Florida.
Yeah.
I had their jersey on, everything. Josh Freeman, big fan, and they've been terrible. They haven't won it since 2003. And so 2003, they haven't won it since, and they haven't made a Super Bowl since 2000. I'm guessing.
You make it sound like you're long suffering, Tom. Right?
Like Liverpool when they won the Premier.
I support my NFL team that I've chosen is the New York Jets, and they haven't won it since like '66. So
terrible. The Jets are terrible.
I think the thing is with like American sports is like you can't just buy, like Man City, you can't just buy all the players. You have to trade them, which just makes it a lot harder to do things.
One day, I believe the Jets, they will return to the Super Bowl.
Hopefully, because that's why if you ever start watching American sport, always support the worst team. Because eventually they should become good because you get draft picks
They get draft picks and stuff, don't they?
Obviously, for most teams, it doesn't work out, like the Jets and the Buccaneers for 17 years. But
how does that work then? Is it like you got all these wonder kids who just don't really turn up in the end in the draft? Is that it?
It's a weird concept. People have been trying to implement it into football, but it will never work because they don't have a college thing. But it's basically the people that play all American sports, you play in college first. So you go through, you don't have like individual teams where you play out of school. You play all your sport in school. So you have middle school, high school. And if you're good enough, you go to college. And then if you're good enough there, you get to be drafted into the NFL. There's 7 rounds, 150 people, I think. And obviously the best players get picked first.
Yeah.
But obviously we all saw Tom Brady yesterday. He was like, he's the best player in the world now. The GOAT, best player ever, arguably. Good. He was actually drafted in the 5th round. He was actually drafted.
Late on.
And most of the people drafted round then and nothing. They just in the league for a couple of years and then they might go play somewhere else, in Canada or whatever. But after being drafted in the 5th round, nobody knew of him. He's the best in the world, and we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, like having someone like he's 43, and him linking up with Gronkowski was it was. I mean, obviously we can't grasp it because this is the first ever full NFL game I've ever seen, but just seeing his like link up and like I can't throw that far. I couldn't throw a ball that far to deep it really.
And he throws it with so precision. It's amazing. And there was a fun fact after yesterday. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, you've probably never heard of them. But they played for the San Francisco 49ers in the 80s, 90s, I believe. Before the last couple of years, they were the best duo in Super Bowl history ever. And they had like they went together for like 5 touchdowns. So Joe Montana threw it to Jerry Rice 5 times. But yesterday, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski beat their record. I think they have 6 now. I was 6, or I don't know if they got another one, because I was really tired. I didn't really concentrate when they were winning so much. But they beat their record, meaning that they are the best duo in NFL history in the Super Bowl.
Because they've been linking up for so long at New England Patriots, weren't they?
It was like watching prime MSN Barcelona thing. It's just loving it.
But they're 43 and 31. It's like,
I mean, 43 is a crazy age to be doing elite level sport at. It's like the equivalent to like Ibrahimovic or maybe Ronaldo in a few years to be doing that age and keeping fit. The guy doesn't look 43 at all.
No.
So I want to know what he's on, because I need some of that.
It just makes no sense. Because especially because American football's such a rigorous sport on your body, people don't usually last that long. Rob Gronkowski, he actually retired when he was 27 for a bit.
Yeah.
When he came back.
Yeah, and he came back to go to Tampa. Because basically, they all went, there's like multiple of them that all went to Tampa to retire, basically. Go live in Florida for a bit, win another championship, that's about it. But like, he retired at 27. It is slightly earlier than most people, but because of injuries and everything, it would be like, people retire a lot earlier than football. And to go into like 43, going to next season is 44, it's
insane.
It's insane. And obviously,
it's crazy.
I'm happy. Maybe a cop out, but it works.
We've talk about the game a bit more, because you've got to feel sorry for the Chiefs. I think there's a lot more hype towards the Chiefs winning. I mean, they have the star man being Mahomes, who I honestly felt sorry for him. The amount of passes he was doing that just looked so good. The guy was parallel to the ground and he was still making like 40, 50-yard passes. And I don't know how some of them weren't caught. Honestly, there was some questionable receivers out there that just weren't doing anything.
There was that one where they were in the red zone. Red zone is like when they're on the goal line.
Yeah.
He'd run from one side of the pitch to the other, being taken down, throws it on, like, whilst being fallen down, to his player, easy catch, and it just hits his helmet and he drops it. And I'm there, like...
Days. That's infuriating.
And you just saw it in his face.
You have to look at how
so
quickly...
Sad.
Yeah, I would be... Look how quickly the Bucks, like, defence were closing down.
The defensive line...
It was so quick.
Yeah. The defensive line was
It's
brilliant.
like a documentary, you know, like Wildebeest and Hyenas.
Yeah.
There's like 3 of them on him already.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what to do. And he still gets some of those throws off, and they don't catch it. And they're such good throws. It's like, it reminds me of, like, I said this before, it's like prime, like Zidane or Iniesta, and you've got Benteke up front. Like,
Just pass it to him, he just bottles it.
Nothing's happening.
It's just, I feel sorry for them, because they're normally such a good team, and you just watch them in full flow. Because they have Tyreek Hill, that they can run with it, running back. He can run with it, he's amazing. Then it comes back to Patrick Mahomes, he can chuck it. Well, he chucks it miles, he's strong on. But he was never really able to show it that game. Travis Kelce...
I think he still showed it.
He showed it a bit, but not like he's full-on long arm, because you see how far he throws it sometimes. He has the strongest arm in the NFL. Well, second. No. But we'll go to that later. But then they have a guy called Travis Kelce. Best tight end in the league. He hardly did anything.
What do they do?
Tight ends, what Rob Gronkowski is, a massive guy who catches it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Got some meaty boys in the NFL, innit? Some big guys.
They're massive. But he didn't
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I actually, after watching the NFL, I kind of went down a rabbit hole of watching some highlights of previous NFL games, a couple of the previous Super Bowls and other games. I think I watched one that was supposedly the greatest regular season game of all time between the Chiefs and the Rams. And it was something like 50-50 a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That's where the Cronkies money's going, isn't it? Not to the Arsenal, to the Rams. Disgraceful. Don't hear about it.
Yeah, I there you could really see how good the Chiefs were, and in the 2020 Super Bowl as well. And like Mahomes was just launching it everywhere. Yeah. You could see how good they were. It's like, and then looking back at how they played today, it was like, well, where did it go? What happened? Were they just overwhelmed? I mean, obviously the Buccaneers' defense was really, really good, and they just shut down a lot of the catches, constantly pressuring Mahomes. But the Chiefs supposed to have the best offense in the league, right?
Yeah.
And
brilliant.
They just never they just could not break through.
No.
When was the last time the Chiefs were in a Super Bowl? Do you know?
Last year.
They won it last
They
year.
won it last year.
Yeah, they won it last year.
Yeah. Won it
That's
last
mad.
year.
That's a bit mad.
It was just. So, I think it's less of a fact that Tampa Bay were amazing. Even though they were amazing, I think it's more of a fact that the Chiefs just lost to themselves, especially in that first half. They just lost to themselves. I remember that play where Tom Brady throws it downfield. He's not. I don't think Mike Evans is going to catch it. The guy just takes him out for no reason when he's nowhere near the ball. So they get a pass interference foul.
Yeah, I remember that. It wasn't even that close, was it? Like, he wasn't going to catch it.
No, he wasn't. I don't think he was going to, unless he literally jumped for it and caught it. But I don't know why he went for it. And then the next play, Tom Brady throws it into the end zone, and the guy does the exact same thing, and another pass interference. And then you're on the 1 yard line, and they just run it in. They just lost to themselves. I think we saw it in the first half. They had 8 fouls, and they're normally so disciplined, and so they just let themselves down.
Maybe they were just intimidated by Tom Brady and the Gronkowski link up.
I mean, I wouldn't be wrong. They're amazing. It's not even just a fouls though. Like you said, the defensive line of Tampa Bay rushed Patrick Mahomes so many times that he couldn't give any space and no space to throw to anything. I would say that's more of a fact that the offensive line was terrible. So the people that are trying to stop the defensive line, they were absolutely
just ignore that if you heard my fire alarm going off.
Yeah. He's burnt the bacon sandwich.
They just got beat.
That's probably what it is.
Every single time. The offensive line did. They just...
And
they were terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and like Sam's house, the Bucs got on like a house on fire, and the Chiefs couldn't really do much to stop them. I saw a video actually of Tom Brady's celebration, which was non-existent afterwards. The guy, like 20 minutes after they lifted the Super Bowl, the guy was in the change room just packing their stuff and getting ready to go. Like, he just didn't care. The guy has more Super Bowl rings now than all the other NFL teams.
All the NFC teams.
Like,
Just the most. Yeah, the most is the Patriots, and he won all 6 with the Patriots, and now he's got 7.
Oh my days.
I don't know how he's still this good, because like he's still performing at a top level at the age of 43, and it's not just that; it's the leadership he has on other players as well. Because you don't understand how important a quarterback is to a team. The Buccaneers, they had Josh Freeman, who's my favourite player, in like 2011-12. Since then, they had a guy called Jameis Winston, who was drafted really high up, so he was supposed to be really good. He was the best rookie of all time. Since then, he completely dropped off, and now he's terrible. He's still like 27, he's doing nothing. And they have a wide receiver called Mike Evans, who is one of the best wide receivers in the league. But if you don't have the good quarterback to throw it to you, you're never going to do anything.
The whole game revolves around the quarterback, doesn't it? It's like that you can see when they throw it back to them at the start, like, and then half the team, their job is just to protect the quarterback and allow him to pick out the perfect throw. And
so if you don't have a good quarterback, there's no point even playing. And so now they bring in a good quarterback, and you see how good all these wide receivers do. People like Rob Gronkowski, who's had an amazing season. His game yesterday was brilliant. Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, who was fit to play today because apparently he was supposed to be injured, but he played. And even Leonard Fournette had a mad game. Running back, I think everybody just did amazingly. The offensive line just didn't let the defense of the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have such a good running defense. But everything went perfect.
Yeah.
Everything went their way.
And to be honest, I have to also give credit, like, the watching experience of the NFL in general is just so much better than anything I've ever seen in sport.
Yeah.
Like, not even just like camera and like the HD and that, like, hearing the referee, hint.
Yeah.
The fact I could actually hear them have a conversation and say, we're doing this is why, this is what's going to happen, thank you. It's just nice. The quality of the refereeing, it's much better than what we see at the Premier League. And I just want to, this is a segue, by the way, I just want to talk about what is going on right now in our league. Something we're a bit more familiar with is our goalkeeper, our refereeing situation at the moment has been dire. You cannot ignore. We'll get to my club in a minute, but we have to talk about in general. There has been what has it been 3 appeals in a week for refereeing situations.
That is actually ridiculous.
2 of them were overturned.
2 of them have been overturned.
And 2 of them overturned. overturned.
They
And the
have
other one should have been.
VAR. Yeah, they have VAR, and they're still overturning things on appeal.
That's what I mean. It's so flawed, and they're at this point acknowledging the fact that the thing has flaws. Because if you have to appeal something when you can literally see, you have video footage, you can rewind, you've got it in 4K, and you can't make a decision. Then and
I
there.
think the funniest ones were the Mitrovic one and Benrick, because they were both overturned.
Oh,
But
it was shocking.
both of
Mitrovic was awful.
Mitrovic and Martial both said that they weren't red cards and Martial's were penalties, and they still give him a red card and for Martial on a penalty.
Have you seen all those memes of Anton Deck or like Impractical Jokers doing them like hidden camera shows and telling the referees what to do? It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, Mike Dean, now send him off, and they're just giggling behind the camera. It honestly feels like that. It's ridiculous. And I know you guys are both Wolves fans. We do have two Wolves fans here, so they're gonna have biased opinions. But David Luiz as foul. Penalty, I don't care. Fine, sure, we'll say the penalty, but a red card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Come on.
I used to be a referee for a bit.
Kidding me.
And now,
oh yes,
the rules.
Tom was an amateur referee as well.
I haven't refereed for a while now because obviously COVID.
Yeah.
But I don't think the double jeopardy rule should be a thing, because if I take someone out of a goal scoring opportunity, it's always been a red until the last couple of years. It should be, because then if he misses the penalty, then how is that fair?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it should be a red, but the law is it shouldn't have been a red. So it shouldn't have been a red. But I do think it was a red because he's taking him out. And if he would have missed a penalty, I would have been so annoyed. But
what if it wasn't a red?
If it wasn't a red and he missed a penalty.
No, I mean the thing is though, if it wasn't a red, no one would have said anything because it shouldn't have been a red. If he honestly didn't get a red card for that, nobody would have said anything. Come on.
No.
That's that. I don't.
As a fan, I would have been annoyed because, well, if he scored the penalty, it's fine. I'm not bothered. But if he would have missed the penalty and he didn't get a red card, it was like, just why did you take him out? He could have had a one-on-one and scored
rule.
it.
It just shouldn't be a rule. It makes people overthink. It doesn't work because, like, I mean, a penalty is a gifted goal essentially. I think I know what you mean. But if you miss the penalty, that's just peak.
Yeah,
you shouldn't miss penalties. But at the same time, it should be a rule because you're thinking too much about do I send him off or not? When honestly, he just shouldn't have been sent off. It wasn't a kick out. He didn't even move his body other than running. He didn't purposely move his leg. The guy has just touched his knee.
Yeah.
It's an accidental collision. It can't have been a red. It can't have been a red.
My thing to that is, did he purposely carry on running?
Tom, I beg, don't do this to me again. Don't do this to me again because we've been arguing about this. We've argued about this on Snapchat. We've argued about this on Xbox. We can argue about this here now. No, come on,
players are so smart. How do you know he did? He's not that.
You know he's not doing that. He's not doing that though.
And just not going.
Oh, and let him score. Yeah.
Well, you're better than giving a penalty.
No, because he was. Because imagine now if he stops running and Woody Jose scores, which he probably wouldn't have because he's a donkey. But imagine if he did score, Imagine the amount of slate he would get. Why are you tracking your man? Why have you left him? What are you doing?
Isn't it worse than he gave a penalty and got sent off?
No, because he shouldn't have been sent off. Because he shouldn't have been sent off. Because he shouldn't have been sent off.
He shouldn't even put that decision to the ref in the first place. The ref shouldn't need to make that decision in the first place.
You've played centre back.
Yeah, no, but that's a different story.
So you know you can't. I know Sunday League is different, but you know you can't leave your man. It's not like he's done a Valverde. Has he? You know the Valverde tackle, right?
Well,
he hasn't done that, has he?
No, he hasn't done that.
So, a red card.
We don't know if he's smart or not. We don't know if he has intentionally done it.
You know he hasn't intentionally done it. You know he hasn't.
Oh, actually, there was one guy who did it like that, who made it look fake. He accidentally ran into it, and then later came out and said, "Yeah, I intentionally did it." They're just that good at hiding stuff. There's a reason why they don't have footballers.
All right, well, thanks, Tom. You're off the show now. You're never coming back to the podcast. I appreciate your appearance.
But I don't think it really matters because Jean Martinho's goal was world class.
Yeah, I mean, that Martino goal was still class. But I think, honestly, if we still had 10 men, he probably still would have scored that screamer. But I think morale-wise, we went down to 9 men towards the end of the game. And I feel like if David Luiz was there, I don't know what Leno was doing. I can't defend him for that. That was shocking, honestly. Using your hands in the first place and coming out in general. The guy was playing. It was disappointing. But I think morale, a red card can seriously just drop heads instantly. And so that was disappointing. I think we played really well in that game until the red card as well. So I think we deserved to win.
I think if incident right before half-time had not happened,
should have blown the whistle.
You honestly would have battered us.
Yeah,
like,
and it was overtime.
You had a goal ruled out for offside in like the first 10 minutes.
Saka should have scored that first one.
Saka could have had a hat trick.
Oh,
it's like
disappointing. That was sad, man. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Our
we
defense
had the win
was
in the
shocking.
bag.
Yeah,
midfield, like your midfield wasn't even that good.
No.
I'm sorry, Mateo scored a good goal, but I recorded it. Like I saw, when you saw Partey on the ball, nobody closed him. There was no closing down.
I say it every single time Wolves play, we lose every. Actually, when we last played against, who did we play? Just say Leicester. Our midfield actually did well. Every other game before then, we lost the midfield battle all the time. You just see them. Because we only play 2 in midfield, another team can have like 3 big midfielders like Partey and Xhaka. We just lose it.
Dominate,
and then you just dominate.
You played the back 4 in that game, didn't you? You played back 4 in that?
No, back 5.
You played
Killen
played back 5 against Leicester.
Yeah,
you played back 5 against Leicester.
Killen played left back.
Yeah, and I think those wing backs sort of help because you got wing backs who sort of populate the midfield in a way. They sort of like stay there and they sit back and then they bomb forward if they need to. Whereas now you cannot used to playing with 2 midfielders, and I don't think many people have spoken about that yet. Like, Neves and Martinho had backup rather than just being like 2 on the road.
I prefer watching them play at a 4-back. I think it's more enjoyable to watch it because they pass it around, it's all fun. But we concede so many shots, it's unbelievable what we do.
You do. You conceded like 3 or 4 in the first half already.
You lost to yourself that game. You lost to yourself.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the red cards, you would have won 5-0. If you would have carried on how you started,
and you know what, Tom, I agree with you, and you know what makes it worse? It shouldn't have been a red card, and that's why it annoys me the most because now the momentum has started because we lost to Villa 2 even worse refereeing. I think we can get worse.
What a left back Cedric is. What a pass.
Cedric. Okay. First of all, right, the Cedric thing. I've rewatched that about 4 times, and. Why would you think Gabriel is going to overlap? Because he's obviously done that short pass thinking Gabriel's going to run and overlap. And I know Gabriel likes to come forward. Sometimes he likes to come forward. But in the start of the game, we've only just got possession. Just chill. Doing overlapping things. I can't believe that.
And then what made it worse as well is Matt Ryan was going to save the shot easily. And it holding.
Matt Ryan was so good in that game. I honestly still feel so bad that he didn't get clean sheet.
I was quite surprised by how good he did because, at Brighton earlier in the season, he was
shocking.
Genuinely awful. His save percentage was the worst in the league. And so part of me was expecting some sort of like Runnison level disaster class.
Yeah.
But he did actually perform pretty well, and it could have been a lot more. Grealish had a really good effort. A couple of other shots, I think Traore scored. So it could have been more. And Arteta came out after the game and said that you dominated all departments, which no, you didn't.
We didn't really, but we didn't play terribly. We didn't play our best football, I won't lie. Of course, Watkins, who is a diehard boyhood Arsenal fan, scored against us, and he wants to play for us. But that's the kick in the teeth, I guess. We should have had a penalty. I don't know how it wasn't given a penalty. The VAR checked it wasn't given a penalty. Emi Martinez clearly pulled his shirt. There was no pushing going on. You jostle him a little bit. You have to shoulder barge a little bit, try and win the ball. But when you're full on pushing, pulling his shirt to the ground and taking it down, and the referee seen it. The referee, when you see where the referee is, and then you see the VAR, 4K again. This is 4K. And they like, no, we can't allow it. And the Saka thing was debatable whether or not that was a red card. I'm not going to go into that because he's in the halfway line. So whether or not that's a red card is sticky.
At first glance, I thought he has to go. I
said that. He has to go, blood.
But then watching it back, the other guy across him could have got back, and he was so far out.
Yeah. There was time for them someone to outpace him. I mean, realistically. We know for a fact no one's going to outpace Saka, and he's probably going to be an own goal. But you can't prove that. You never know. He might have tripped, Gerrard slip or something. So whatever. But that was a nailed-on pen. We shouldn't have lost that game. Really, I feel like it should have at least been a draw.
But I think Villa are just on such a good run at the moment. They're just
defensively. They have a sick defense.
Defensively, they're amazing.
11 clean sheets, I think, this season.
Yeah. Eddie Martinez, what a signing.
And it is crazy because, like, their defence, for the most part, is the same defence of last season, which was terrible. You've still got Mings, still got Konza, still got Matt Target. Yeah. It's just Matty Cash who's come in and obviously been great. And Eddie Martinez has come in and been great. And obviously, and even the midfield, like, it's not like they're getting more protection from the midfield than they got last season, because they've got the same midfield that they had last season. They've still Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Jack Grealish, Marvelous Nakamba. It's the same people. And obviously, Dean Smith is a much better manager than a lot of people gave him credit for. And he's turned them into not only a very solid defensive side, but a side with a really, really good attack as well. I
think, as what Wolves started for the first half of the season, it means it's so important to have a striker that is competent. Even a striker that can do something. Because, like, as soon as Wolves bring Willian Jose, we started to play well. Before that, we had Fabio Silva, who, obviously, I'm not going to say he's a bad player. I'm not going to say he's a bad player, but he's still young, give him time. But some of the stuff he does, it's like...
That miss, what was he thinking of that miss? Nailed on, in on goal. At first, I thought it was offside. Like, that was such a good position. Which shows he has got potential to be good, because that positioning was quality.
His intelligence is there. He's got the instincts to get in the right position.
That finish was terrible.
He's lacking quite a bit of composure, I think.
I was sat there and I was like, he's in on goal, and then he misses, and I'm like,
that's so sad.
Wait,
that was the win as well. That would have been a win. 100% they would have won you the game, and you've thrown it away.
We played so well. I think Neves and Marquinhos, their shots were very poor.
Yeah,
there was a couple of chances that they had on like the edge of the box where you would think they would hit the target and they'd hit over.
Jose was kind of like didn't get many touches either, did he?
It's probably his least involved performance.
Yeah.
He didn't really get to show off his hold-up play so much. But I'm getting so frustrated now at Neves' free kicks. Like, just give him to Pedro Neto or something. Surely Pedro Neto can get it over the wall.
Just give him to Romain Saiss. He scored that one against Millwall a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago, you know. Honestly, though, I think Jose's sort of positioning is
he
his
still
sort
needs
of way,
to get used to
because the way he plays is so good for you. If you could hold up and allow Podence or someone like Podence or Adama to just sort of like come in behind, that's quality. If he's like a hold up sort of player, and he's a target man for the whippings as well. Like he's the perfect sort of replacement in a way for the time being for someone like Jimenez.
But he's still on loan. Is someone on loan? It's a loan option to buy, so we can get him at the end of the season as well. But I still don't think he's got used to how the Wolves plays cross. So if you watch him play, every single cross goes to back post. Because Dharma, he just floats into the back post. And Neto puts like a strong whippage onto the back post. But Jose, he always goes to the front post. If he has more training sessions with them and starts to learn how they like it, and it's going to eventually tick over and it's eventually going to work. I hope so. But let's talk about the best young player in the league.
Oh, mate. Pedro Neto.
He's incredible. Did you see? He made Ricardo Pereira look
to be fair, he had
Ricardo Pereira is a
toast.
top-class right-back. He is a brilliant right-back. And Pedro Neto has sent him to the shops and he's never coming back.
Man brought me some Kinder Buenos. He came to my house today, brought me Kinder Bueno, Pepsi Max, everything from the shops today. Like,
it was that one where Johnny Evans tries to come and defend him and he just megs him and just crosses it in.
Yeah.
He's actually brilliant.
I mean, it's good. It is good. People don't talk about it. I think the thing is like, is he scoring Premier League goals? Or getting assists?
He scored the most.
He's got the equal most goals for us, and also I think he's got the most assists for us.
What is it compared
you're
to
also having the best season. Maybe it's the team. I think when you look at the stages they're doing it on, I mean, Neto, did he even play against us at Arsenal? Did he play?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. That was one of his worst games, to be fair.
That's what I mean. Like,
he was never involved.
Like Phil Foden is banging in screamers against Liverpool at Anfield.
Phil Foden is long gone. He's
he's not really a young
graduated.
He's not a wonder kid, yeah.
No, he's graduated. He's top class.
I mean, okay, Saka then. I think Saka was kind of terrorising that right side against United. And he did it against Liverpool in the FA Cup and stuff. Like, I think all we need now is for Neto to just do it on a bigger stage. I mean, if you get into Europa League, which it's not impossible for you to do this season.
I think we'd have to win the FA Cup. I think we would have the Cup.
Yeah. And then if he was to do it on that sort of stage, and because people were talking about him last season, and when you were in the Europa League, people would acknowledge this guy is actually all right, and the people would know about him. He's in tier lists now. People acknowledge him, but if he does it against bigger teams, maybe if he was like playing when we did the double over City last season, because everyone's talking about Dharma then. But if he was playing then and he was getting assists doing a Dharma thing, then I think even now we'd still be talking about Neto, how good he is.
It was the goal against Chelsea when he won it against Chelsea that really launched the debate of putting him into the category of one of the best youngsters in the league.
Yeah,
and
he's
since then, I think that was the last goal he scored, and so since then, obviously, he's had a bit of a drop off in form, as have everyone at Wolves.
Well, yeah, everyone has.
But he's still even like not playing at his best. He's still been one of our best players, and he's still the guy that we look towards to make things happen.
He's got 4 goals, 4 assists. And for a 20-year-old in the Premier League,
it's pretty good.
And
in a team with such a bad attack.
Yeah, bad attack. Didn't have strikers for him to cross it into, because most of our assists come from just crossing it into Jimenez and he heads it in. That just shows how much he's come on. Even from last
Greenwood.
year. Well, Greenwood.
He's had the best season this season, has he?
No, I think it's just game time. Is it because they got Cavani in? He just hasn't had as much game time. He's finishing. When he shoots it into the net, his finishing's one of the best strikers in the league.
With both feet as well.
But he just needs to get the other parts of the game into it. So like his hold-up play, his movement.
His position, he needs to be there to score as well.
Because like if he's in the box, open, he's scoring it most times, 9 out of 10. But he doesn't have a position to get there. To read the play. That'll just come with time, really, won't it?
Yeah. I suppose that having such an experienced world-class striker as Edinson Cavani to learn from,
such top-class finish as well.
He's turned out to be a great signing, not only in that he scores goals whenever he plays. I think he's only started 6 or 7 games, and he's got 5 or 6 goals. So he's just. Yeah, whenever he gets the minutes, he does score.
And he's been better as a super sub, hasn't he?
Rashford can learn from him. Oh yeah, and Rashford can learn from him. Greenwood obviously can learn from him. All the young strikers at the club, they will learn from him.
Well, because his movement is brilliant as well. That run where he runs to the front post. If they just learn from him,
he should have scored. He should have scored that against us. He did that against us in a 0-0 draw, and he did that like 2 or 3 times and didn't score.
If he just learns from Cavani, he'll be a top class striker.
Yeah,
but he needs to get his attitude as well. His attitude. I hear Man United fans saying his attitude isn't good.
It's a bit mad. I've seen some videos of him in the background of this.
Now, I don't know if it's just the news making it up bigger, but most of the time it is just him being a fool. And
which is a shame. It's a shame, it really is. I think if he was in good form as well, like if he was in the form he was last season, we might be talking about him as a graduate like Foden. And we may even see him like sort of helping with Man United's sort of title charge, because honestly, I don't see them winning. I think City have got it now, and I 100%. Don't see United winning, or they might get second. But honestly,
I think City are just too good.
Yeah, they don't have
if you're beating the current champions 4-1, if you're beating the current champions 4-1.
Yeah, you're winning. And do you know what's sad as well? Because I was really hoping this would have been the first season that we would have seen like Liverpool and United actually both be good at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen. When was the last? I don't think we've ever seen both teams be good at the same. No. Like never. Like it was when United were winning the league. It was like the air of like Skirt and then Balotelli, and now it's the same thing again.
Well,
really.
No, it wasn't even. When was it? They were like it was 30 years ago. Was it exactly 30 years ago?
When they left from the league.
I believe their last league title was 1992, the last season before the Premier League began.
And then once they won that, then Man United had their massive run going to 2009.
Yeah. Alex Fergie came in and just killed it.
And so it would have been nice to see them top again, but I still think they're going to be battling it out for obviously not for the title, obviously, but they'll both be around the second, third place position.
Yeah.
So there'll still be a bit of
Nah, mate, it's Arsenal's turn next season. We challenge him next
Oh,
season.
okay.
Mark my words. Kieran Tierney doing a masterclass. Tom Party doing the masterclass. Martinelli will be a well-known player. You think I'm joking? I said first podcast. I think Kieran Tierney by January will be the best left back in the league, and I think I was close. Honestly,
Yeah.
he wasn't injured.
I thought you were going to say Yeast then.
No. Well, I mean, Andy Robertson hasn't been that amazing. So who is honestly better than Kieran Tierney at this
Luca
point?
Dean. Luca Dean. I've always said it. I've always said he's been better than
They've
Robertson.
been quiet recently, though.
I think I've always said he's been better than Robertson. Robertson is just the style of play they have. He just how he does it. It's just their thing, isn't it? Because they have so attacking left backs and right backs, it just works.
The thing is, though, is that both these teams have good left backs because the whole team's doing good. We could be terrible, and Kieran Tierney would still be our best player no matter what.
Yeah,
100%.
I just think Luca Dean just does it it's easy to do it in a top 6 club because of the left backs, because how they keep the ball and everything. But he's doing it at Everton, and he's done it for ages. There's a reason why he was at Barcelona.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I believe the best Barcelona fullback is ex-Barcelona fullback is Nelson Semedo, who obviously, but no, Luca Dean is. I think he's definitely.
Wow,
I think
big shout, Tom! You're getting into this podcasting game.
He's
like a natural with a big hot takes.
Because when you did your team of the season so far, I was like, why isn't Luca Dean there? And I commented, and nobody replied to my comment. And so I was like, I have to get on and tell them. It's my chance.
Oh, there you go.
Left back. I mean, it's difficult. There's not many left backs is there in the league, so it's difficult to say.
No.
But because they're all pretty good. I think in terms of like right backs, it's a bit more competitive.
Yeah. I can't wait to see when Johnny's back for Wolves, because he started his last 45 minutes yesterday at left back.
Yeah.
I think
he's
the most consistent.
So good.
He's the most consistent left back in the league because he never had a bad game. He was always a 7 or 8 out of 10, always. And I just think I want to see, because he did well yesterday. That was only for 45 minutes. You don't know if he's after his injury, he's gonna have injury problems after it. I hope he isn't, because he.
Well, I think I saw a quote on Twitter afterwards from Nuno that he said that they agreed before the game that he was going to come off at half time.
Oh, that's right.
So it's just a precaution. I think at the end of the day, he's been out for 6 months. And the fact that he slotted back into the team seamlessly, it was like he'd never been gone. Yeah. He's missed 6 months of football.
Do you know what? Because we were just talking about this midfield thing. I think because we were talking about football. Do you remember we were talking about Football Manager and we were talking about like I want to sign Johnny because he's like an inverted wing back and he can play centre mid, basically like a centre mid, innit? I honestly believe that is why you might be struggling the midfield department, because he sort of played that sort of like he would cut into midfield.
Well, I remember Patrick Catroni's goal, one of his only 2 against West Ham. Johnny was actually even the one Den Donkers against Villa. Remember last season? Johnny was literally on the edge of the box, laid it off to them.
He comes in and he supports the midfield, and we can actually create that kind of overload.
He literally he plays so many positions, and I think he's the perfect balance of left back, because we've had so many people trying to play left back. We've had Kilman against Arsenal, who isn't a left back. Sace, who also isn't a left wing back because he's just a no-nonsense centre-back, and I don't know why they thought that was working left back. Marcel, who I think is a very good defender, but going forwards.
I think you're a nice guy, Marcel, but it's just not working out.
And then Egnory has no clue what to do on defence. Attacking is alright, but I still don't think he's very good.
Didn't he give him a penalty in his last game? You haven't seen much of him recently. I kind of feel bad for him because, you guys are talking about how it's going to work out and you might sign him, and haven't heard much since.
He's not good enough.
I mean, because Johnny's back.
As well.
You guys don't say anything. We never know if anyone's injured, to be honest, with your team.
Don't say anything, they're terrible.
Which is quite weird.
It ends up the players more saying, because Daniel Pones has now said he's out for 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the club never said anything. Sace is out as well for a bit. He was supposed to go to Morocco for the African Cup of Nations, wasn't it?
Was he meant to go? I thought they weren't having any Premier League players.
Oh.
Literally all the teams. I checked the lineup for the final yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
and it was literally...
It was
literally they were all African players.
Mane would have gone.
Yeah, they were all in the African League. Every single one of them.
Liverpool would have been even worse. Imagine if Liverpool didn't have Mane or Salah.
Game over. There'd been no attack.
They'd be done.
They'd have to play flipping Shaqiri or Jota, and no shade to Jota, but he's not
Jota's
Mane.
injured as well.
They'd have to actually just bring Jota on his crutches.
Yeah.
And he'd have to do a job.
It'd be the under nines. Could you imagine under nines against Man City? Like 15-0.
They're just
crazy.
such a weird team. Alisson.
Oh my days, man! I felt so bad for him because he's still a world class keeper. He just the mistakes he made. I feel sorry for anyone who had him on flipping FPL. Honestly, it was peak.
How many points did he lose?
It would have been 4, I think, because
I don't play FPL, but
I don't play either. But every 2 goals is -1. So
what about mistakes as well? Do the mistakes count for anything?
no, it doesn't count. The only mistake that counts is an own goal. But either way, it was still just rough for him. Like giving the ball away twice.
I feel like he's such a nice guy, but he's just he wasn't even twice. He was nearly 3 times because for their first, or not their first goal, but it was the first mistake he did. He nearly bottles the pass to Fabinho, who's like 5 yards away from him. Fabinho passes it back to him, and so he just ends up passing to a City player anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my days!
Honestly, I was thinking after he made the second mistake, I was honestly thinking just sub him off at this point.
Yeah.
Like it might just get worse. And then like Foden's shot, you could argue he could have saved that as well. I think there's not really any point going
think it was
too hard for that because it was a really powerful shot.
Which was that one where he literally just parries it straight into that guy's feet.
Yeah.
The Gundogan's goal. That was their first goal. Yeah, that was their first goal. He missed a penalty, didn't he?
Missed a pen. When he missed a pen, I thought honestly that Man City was screwed at first.
I think with that one he should have done better as well because I remember that Jesse Lingard one from Man United, and when he does the exact same thing and just parries it to him, he could have easily just gone down and caught it, or just push it somewhere else. He's literally pushed it straight to his feet. Now I think obviously that one doesn't get talked about as much because the other two he completely were terrible. But I still think that could be even seen as a mistake because
possibly actually, yeah. I mean, it is his fault really. So is that a 3rd consecutive loss at Anfield now after winning like 50?
3rd consecutive home loss, yeah.
After having like 4 years of never losing. Yeah, the Burnley, Brighton, and now Man City.
Are you Brighton?
I can't.
Never lost in like
the thing
3
is, like,
years.
no one had clocked the Brighton off because I think Man United are playing. Who was Man United playing?
Yeah,
there was another big game on.
Yeah.
It was 9. It was the 9-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously people were just like, "Oh, and Liverpool lost. What?"
Yeah,
this is rough. I feel bad for it, but at the same time, I just don't because I don't like Liverpool fans.
Well, have you seen all the stuff they were getting from all the Twitter messages they were getting? Alisson was getting.
Yeah, I mean that's a horrible problem.
That's the worst thing is like you could predict that was going to happen. Like the moment he makes those mistakes, you can predict he's going to get all this hate on social media. It just happens every single time.
It just makes it worse for them. Like morale wise, it's so crushing. You can see that.
I know Jacob won't let me say this, but the fans of the top 6 are the worst fans.
They all suck. I'm not okay. To be honest, all top 6 fans, they're all terrible.
Because it's always for the Jimenez one. All the Arsenal fans about Jimenez. I was like, what are you on about? And I thought what was worse is when they're on about Benikafobie's daughter, and Benikafobie played for Arsenal.
Yeah, I know. Honestly,
and I'm just sat there like, where's the correlation?
The thing is, I think like there was a lot of talk on Twitter, like not just from Arsenal fans, but mostly from Arsenal fans, about like the Premier League is corrupt and like everyone's just trying to get Arsenal.
FA is corrupt.
And like
conspiracy theorists.
There was none of this when all the shocking refereeing decisions in any other games. Like there is, I mean, I'm not saying this is you, Jacob, but like there is a general sense of entitlement around the big clubs that everything should go their way. When like obviously the refereeing decisions are shocking, but that doesn't make it corruption. Like that doesn't make it the whole world is against you.
There's just loads of stuff.
I might agree.
Sometimes
I do think we get shafted.
Everything comes down to VAR. I'm sure I'm one of the only people that would say VAR is a good thing. Now,
no, because I know what you mean, but like if they got rid of VAR, I think people would just be like, oh well, if something happened, they'd be like, oh well, VAR would have
exactly.
Like,
I always come back to this thing. I remember Wolves' first game of we were playing Brighton. First when we got to Premier League the first time. It was 2 or 3 seasons ago. Matt Doherty, beautiful ball played over the top from Connor Cody. Matt Doherty's about 2 yards onside. Yeah. Goes in, scores. The linesman flags offside. We would have won that game. But that was a 0-0 game.
It's not the only one of those that happened as well. Like
it happens loads.
Against Spurs in our first season, we were 3-0 down, and then we brought it back to 3-2 because we had 2 penalties. Van Foyth gave them both away. Worst debut ever.
Yeah.
But earlier than that, we had a goal ruled out for offside. Raul Jimenez scored, and it wasn't offside. And we would have drawn that game.
And that's the thing with it. Every time somebody says, we need to get rid of VAR, I always say, remember those. We would have been counted. Even though, recently, I can't really say this, but before it, at least they're making the correct decisions. The offside, at least they're making wrong decisions correct. Now, for the 2 red cards that were overturned, you can't really say it. I can't. That's disgraceful. But most of the time, I do think... I just always come back to those things where I would hate to see it that if we got a goal disallowed that could have won the game, which it shouldn't be disallowed, because then you feel like...
Just feel robbed. You just feel completely robbed. Yeah. And there are some conspiracy theories. I've heard my fair share of conspiracy theories. I've even shared some of me, and I talk a lot about 50th game unbeaten for Arsenal where we should have won it, and we lost 2-1 to Man United, and that was... It was... Whether or not it was... either way, it's either terrible officiating or it was corruption, one of the two. Champions League finals, another one. Terrible officiating or corruption. And honestly, I'm just going to have to say terrible officiating because, I don't want to be one of those crazy, tinfoil hat dons.
UEFA and the FA are corrupt. We know about this.
Yeah, we do know this.
The Qatar World Cup. I recently found out the Persian states, so people like Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, want to actually make Bahrain and Qatar. They want to cut them off from the mainland.
Yeah. There's honestly, there's genuinely, if you ever watch FIFA football, they made a sick documentary on that. Literally, what they're doing is they're pumping nuclear waste into this trench and trying to cut them out because they don't rate them enough. It's like Islam or something, I don't know. But there's like a whole feud, and they wanted to steal the World Cup from them by going to UEFA and be like, hey, how about we just merge the World Cup together and we have some in Saudi, some in Qatar, but we have the final in Saudi. They're trying to steal it from them. It was mad.
And they still want to hold the World Cup there. People died building the stadiums.
Thousands of people.
And they still think it's all right to stay there. Why didn't it go to England? England can hold it. We have the stadiums already pre-built. We don't have
enough oil money to give them.
That's the thing, it makes no sense.
Yeah, no. It's shady. It's very shady as to what's happened. Yeah. It was Platini as well. That was the UEFA, what is it, CEO, whatever it is, when it happened. And he's been arrested. And I don't know why there hasn't been an investigation as to, if you've been arrested for corruption and stuff, you'd think there'd be some sort of inquest as to how a country with one of the lowest tier of football regarded wise no one cares about Qatari football apart from the fact that Xavi plays there. It's very shady, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that the whole FIFA corruption investigation that all happened in 2015. And that Sepp Blatter, all those people, they got arrested. That's 7 years before the Qatar World Cup. You have so much time to easily rewrite that, turn that around, send it to somewhere else that's prepared. And they still, it's so obvious that after all these corruption investigations and all these arrests, it's still going on. It's still just as bad. So
I just thought
nothing's really changed.
Do you remember the Europa League final, Chelsea versus Arsenal?
Oh yeah, thanks.
Enric Mkhitaryan couldn't even go to the game.
Yo, we couldn't have Mkhitaryan because they were in war with Armenia, and they still did it. And the venue was terrible. There was nobody there. There was 40,000 people in an 80,000 seater. Because who goes to Baku? What is even in Azerbaijan?
If one of their players can't go, why would you feel safe to go and watch them?
Exactly. You have to take 3 flights to get there.
Yeah.
Part of that, you cost like hundreds of, nearly £1,000 to go to watch your club, and then we absolutely
It's
battered as
just,
well.
why would you hold it in Baku? What's the point?
Yeah.
The only good thing is for racing there. That's it. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
yeah. And the thing was with this World Cup, no one's gonna really it's not gonna be the same vibe. Having a summer tournament
Summer
makes it.
Yeah, it's sick. You can all go out, go drinking.
Go for a drink, have a pint in the sun. Who's gonna be wrapped up warm with the fire on? Oh, it's the World Cup tonight. No, thank you. No. It's just not that fun. It doesn't feel like a summer tournament. You need sun shining, wearing your shorts. You've just come out from playing out with having pint with your mates.
Yeah.
Big garden World Cup. Remember you go out to a big field and someone have a projector and you have it on the screen. That's the World Cup.
We were on DV watching it when England won the penalties against Colombia. We were all on DV. Imagine if you didn't do DV, did you?
I didn't do DV now.
Yeah, no. Just imagine if we were
Vibes.
that happened and it was snowing and we couldn't leave the house.
Guys, come out, come to the World Cup. How cold is it? Is that snow? No, not that. We'll play some cards in there. I'll get it on fours and check the score lines or something.
It's just the whole thing about it. Hopefully we can go out and watch it at least, so like we can go to pubs. But
at least we've got the Euros in it. We've got the Euros to enjoy in the summertime. So we'll take
the
that.
Olympics.
Oh, and the Olympics,
Stuff.
Yeah, I think they'll just be behind closed doors, I think, which is a shame. But it's better than nothing, isn't it? So
at least we can watch it.
Yeah. That is true. It's exciting. We'll be out. Hopefully, we'll be out. We'll see how things go. Won't get to our government here, but we'll see how things go. I think we should probably just wrap it up here. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Tom, I think this is a great podcast. This is your first podcast.
I think I've done well. I held my own.
I think to be honest, we might just Ewan, he's taken a week off because he's been feeling a bit ill, and
you've been replaced.
He's out now.
So.
He's out now. He's gone.
Sorry, it's really awkward way to get the contract. Let him write any numbers he wants because he's made this podcast what it is today.
The active podcast is back.
It was like episode 1. I want to see 150 views, 17 likes on this episode. Yeah, for Tom.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah.
Or 7 for Tom Brady.
Number 7
Nice.
for Tom Brady. Thanks. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for listening. Hope you really enjoyed this episode. Ewan, get well soon, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.